One additional thing I wanted to share with you was the results of the midterm survey feedback. And first of all, I wanted to thank every one of you who participated on it. If we go back to the authors of the book you use in your instructional design class, they cite Cronbach and Scriven, Tyler, and Gagne when they say that formative evaluation is the collection of data and information during the development of instruction that can be used to improve its effectiveness. In our case, we're collecting data during the implementation of instruction. And your ideas, first of all, thank you so much for the positive comments about the way that I have been running this class. Please know that I have been making improvements based on what students like you have told me in the past. So I think the suggestions of your own peers from previous semesters have actually been positive to you. One of the things came up was the use of examples for the paper prototype and the final digital prototype. And I already addressed that in the previous video. Also, some opportunities missed, like discussing your ideas for connect activities for your own lessons. And that actually broke my heart because I considered it. I did consider changing the forum instructions so that instead of just talking about social learning in general, you would share your ideas for connect activities just like you shared your ideas for absorbed and do activities. I ended up not doing it because by doing this, I'm actually changing the design of the course, and I did change a lot, but I guess I felt like some things I needed to leave as they were. These are actually things that I'm going to submit to the course lead to see if we can actually incorporate them, because I wanted to try some things with you, and many things you have told me in different contexts that are working out for you. So, I'll relay this information to the course lead to see if we can incorporate that, to kind of like switch some of the discussions for week 4 to actually having you share your ideas for connect activities for your own lessons. There were mixed reactions regarding the discussion. So on the one end, some people said they wanted more in-depth discussion of the readings. On the other end, I also got just one comment about how the discussions using so much citation felt more forced, not as natural as a classroom discussion. And I've received this before. I still prefer to ask that you cite the literature, and I'm going to tell you why. One of the funny things, I've facilitated many discussions over the years when they happen online, and when you don't provide specific criteria of what you want to see in the discussion, students go in and post the very superficial comments. And I'm not saying this would be you. This is really based on previous experience. When I first started teaching the class and you would ask classmates to provide feedback to the classmates, they never went so in-depth as you guys are doing in terms of saying, hey, your objective is really not following Major or Horton or whoever. Hey, you're not implementing this. You think you are, but you're not. And then the reactions that I get from you in the forum, wow, I did not realize this. I thought I was doing this. Great catch, So those kinds of comments and reactions are what are making me push for really, asking that you provide evidence for your claims and your recommendations based on the literature. In the past, I had students saying, your project is great and I'm sure all the students will want to take your lesson. And that was the end of the feedback. Now, some of you have mentioned things like this before, but you don't stop there. You go further to say, and you have done a great job in implementing the presentation as an absorb activity because your objective is this type, and Horton says that this type of objectives goes with this type of absorb activity. So you're not staying at the level where you say, good job, that's it. You are doing a phenomenal job helping each other out. So I really hope that you'll bear with me for the last 2 weeks of the course, where I will ask you to continue to cite the readings. Don't feel like you have to be very comprehensive about citing everything. It's just that when you provide a recommendation, provide some evidence that that is a good recommendation. Don't think that you have to get too serious. Don't think that you only have to quote. You can also paraphrase. Matter of fact, when I read your comments, if I so much as see that your recommendations are aligned with what Horton is saying, maybe you didn't even say, Horton is here and, and he said this, but, I'm also giving you credit for that. So in that regard, please bear with me. In terms of the comment about making discussions more in-depth, and maybe doing that by reducing the number of posts and creating more collaborative opportunities for students to work on talking points. I actually did reduce the number of posts that are required. If you ask around, your classmates are required to do a minimum of 2 or 3 posts per forum. And I'm reducing that depending on the forum. If it's just general conversation, I'm only reducing to 1 comment. If it's feedback and there's 2 discussion forums, then I only ask that you provide feedback to 2 classmates. If there's nothing else but just the 1 feedback forum, then I'm keeping it at 3. But I'm asking more responses in the feedback forums precisely because you get a lot more eyes to take a look at your content and help you out. So, bear with me and understand that I'm trying to do something that I think will end up to being, in your best interests. And then the last thing is, there were some comments about the issue of working on this project as a designer or a developer, or whether it was helpful to work on the paper prototype as a designer, thinking about handing it into to a developer. I would certainly welcome ideas regarding how to make this process a little bit more in tune with what we're living nowadays in terms of development. I've noticed that every semester students tend to start working on the actual tool and developing things in the tool, and not necessarily have a paper plan before, and probably only having a paper plan because we require it. And I'm trying to wrap my mind around some ways in which we could provide for that experience of rapid prototyping, but also making sure that you submit something along the way that could be useful to make sure you're on track, to help you to provide feedback so that you don't make it all the way to the last project, and maybe having a lot of misconceptions. So if you have any ideas about what to submit in place of the paper prototype that could provide the same type of information the paper prototype is providing me, but without it being necessarily a paper plan, share them with me via email, via the Ask Up Here, Ask This for the instructor forum, whichever way you prefer. But I'll be happy to hear about your suggestions. And always remember, if you have questions, email me. I know sometimes emailing can be slow, and it's not as interactive as you wish, because maybe if there's any misunderstanding, it takes a bit longer for you to get your answer. Don't be shy in asking that we do a chat session via the office hours link on the course website. We can meet. We can also do it via Skype. And it's a lot quicker. We get to ask each other questions and really refine what you have in mind regarding any of the assignments for this class. So at any time between now and the end of the term, I'll be happy to meet with you via web conferencing.